Industrial solar power deal. Department stores have had some Mickey Mouse results of late, but David Jones is turning to Disney to try to lift itself out of the doldrums. It's part of DJ's strategy to return itself upmarket and reclaim its place at the high end of Australian retailing. As rival Myer struggles with poor sales, DJ's is betting $200 million that luxury shopping is the pathway to profit. Andrew Robertson has been investigating.
When times are tough, it's time to call in the big guns, and David Jones has gone right to the top.
Welcome, Mickey. Welcome. Mwah. Mwah.
Underneath the frivolity, though, is a hard-headed business decision. David Jones wants to make shopping fun, and Disney is the epitome of fun.
Those Disney moments are paramount to the experience that we're creating here, right here in the heart of Sydney.
Disney is the latest top-name brand to come on board at David Jones as it embarks on a $200 million plan to make its flagship Sydney store a home to many of the world's most upmarket brands.
David Jones and the Walt Disney Company are such iconic brands that have brought magic, memorable experiences to Australian customers and guests for generations, which makes this partnership such a perfect fit.
And while the kids are being entranced by their Disney heroes in the toy department, David Jones is hoping their parents will be equally entranced by the array of luxury brands aimed at them.
I definitely think taking David Jones into the luxury designer brand story is so smart, because Myer, David Jones have not been very different, whether it's in stock or experience, for a very, very long time.
When Woolworths South Africa bought David Jones for $2 billion in 2014, promoting in-house brands was the focus. But with its most recent profit down nearly 40%, a $700 million write-down and a seeming revolving door of chief executives, the in-house brand strategy clearly didn't work. Full-year sales figures released in Johannesburg overnight show another fall of 1%. The question is, will going upmarket again be the saviour?
I don't think it's about just going upmarket. I think it's about curating and editing our ranges that are appropriate for Australia. So essentially bringing together the best products together in the one store, and bringing together the best service, and bringing together the best experiences.
A good start, according to longtime retail strategist Peter Ryan.
I'm a big believer that what made you famous will always make you famous.
However, Peter Ryan sees a big difference between David Jones' intentions and what customers in the stores experience, citing London department store Selfridges as an example.
Gordon Selfridge was the P.T. Barnum of department stores. He was a showman, and he produced a calendar. Every day that they were open, there was stuff going on, and people wanted to go in to see that stuff, to experience that stuff. It made it magnetic. I don't see that in David Jones.
But service, or the lack of it, remains a huge issue. Magnolia Solutions' Nancy Georges thinks DJ's will be wasting its $200 million if it doesn't fix it.
Because I can buy the same thing that I can buy from David Jones, I can buy from 10 other retailers online from my sofa. I don't need to get in my car, I don't need to pay for parking.
A message the David Jones boss appears to understand.
We need to own service, we need to own experiences, and then we need exclusive products that are brought together for the customer.
This is the Gucci store in Sydney's Castlereagh Street. Beside it is Prada, and there are many other top-name luxury brands in this precinct. Across the road is David Jones. So what David Jones is hoping for, to use Gucci as an example, is that people will walk past the Gucci store, cross the road, and buy their Gucci in David Jones. Red Communications' Peter Ryan says that's not necessarily a bad thing if David Jones is clever about how it uses those brands.
If you look at Galeries Lafayette in Paris, the Louis Vuitton store in there is one of its most profitable per square metre stores in the world. What they use it as is a sampler. They have a range of the product in there that they can fit into that 80 square metre concession. And if you want more of that, or you want a greater depth of that, then they push you off to the other store.
The secret to the success of David Jones going upmarket, he says, is for it to become the destination where shoppers looking for luxury products come to compare. Unless it can attract people in large numbers who are willing to spend, this latest strategy might just end up being labelled Mickey Mouse.
Andrew Robertson reporting. Falls for the major miners capped the gains on the share market today. The ASX 200 ended 0.4% higher. And the Australian dollar is currently buying around 73.8 US cents. Michael Heffernan from Phillip Capital joined me from Melbourne to wrap up the week on markets. Michael Heffernan, thank you for joining the business.
My pleasure.
Another positive week on the Australian market, if only barely. What were the exciting parts?
Well, it's good that we've had an increase, so give me an increase any day, but more than the slight increase that we've had today, slight increase for the week. But so far this year, in fact, we have been the best performing major share market in the world. So we're doing quite well, and I think it augurs well for the future is the way that I see it, Carrington. So, you know, we're in pretty fine fettle, to summarise the point.
Well, one of the criticisms of the Australian market is that we don't do technology well, but there seems to be an exception. Afterpay shares have risen for a second day after its stellar sales report. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's an amazing stock, this one, called Afterpay Touch. It's really the modern version of the old lay-by system, but the people who use it seem to love it. And what they do, of course, is they give their credit card or bank account details to Afterpay, and then they've got to pay off whatever they bought every fortnight for about 6 or 8 weeks, is the way I understand it. And if they miss a payment, they get charged $10. But the great thing about it is that they get the goods as soon as they buy the thing. The merchant's happy because he gets his money from Afterpay and pays Afterpay about, I think, about 4%. It seems to work, and if you like, it caps what people can spend to a small, relatively small amount. So the people who use it love it. The merchants are happy. They're into the US very recently and doing well over there. Carrington. So Afterpay is certainly good, and in my view looks good too, and if it's a good thing, then it's never too late to buy the shares.
Well, up over 450% from its lows this year, as I understand it, so a lot of people have made a lot of money so far. Reporting season is coming up. Now, have we seen most of the company confessions that we're likely to see, or do you think more bad news is on the way?
Well, it's getting very close for people to make their last confessions before the season gets underway. Look, there haven't been too many, in fact, Carrington.